So a bishop from Pittsburgh, who was Irish, went back over to Ireland looking for sisters who would come over here to work with his people to help the immigrant peoples who were coming to the United States both acclimate to the United States experience and resist at the same time its highly Protestant culture, retain their Catholic faith.
We have a very interesting history because there were 5 sisters who were brought here by Francis Ward, and they were all under the age of 24. And the oldest was the 24-year-old, and that was Agatha O'Brien.
When the Sisters of Mercy came from Ireland and landed, they came by ship, obviously. They landed in New York. The Bishop of Pittsburgh was there to meet them, but so was this priest from New York who had just been named the Bishop of Chicago, the first Bishop of Chicago. And he put in his bid right away, before they ever even got to Pittsburgh. And Francis Xavier Ward, of course, said, "In time, Father, in time." And they came to Chicago 3 years later.
Great quote from Francis Xavier Ward: "To instruct is an easy matter, but to educate requires ingenuity, energy, and perseverance without limits." And so I think that's what they had. They had ingenuity, energy, and perseverance without limits. And that spirit is what made them leave Ireland, come to the U.S., leave Pittsburgh, come to Chicago, and establish the first hospital in Chicago, establish St. Xavier Academy, establish the first orphanage in Chicago.
She's seeing there are people who need education. She sees that there are people who need shelter, who need food, clothing, what have you. And she and her sisters are trying to be with those people. And so in some ways, if you think about how sisters today want to be with the poor, be with those who are experiencing injustice, that's very much in the same mindset, I think.
She came, and these 5 sisters actually turned Chicago upside down in the ways that were needed. For example, she started the Catholic school system while she was here. She also started the first Mercy Hospital, orphanage, and so she was very engaged and well needed. They immediately did what Catherine sent them to do. We became one of the first congregations that were known as sisters who could go out among the people. In the early days of religious life, sisters were in cloisters, or they just prayed, and they worked for their own upkeep internally, usually with gardens and selling things that they made or grew. And here, the Walking Sisters had a special permission from the Vatican to begin an order that would be among the people. The bishops were very concerned that the south side of the city would have a faith-based college, educational institution. So they depended on other people. They depended on the little bit that they got for educating, children. And because they were educating poor, they didn't get very much money. The building was destroyed, but no one was injured or killed in that, which was the biggest blessing of all that the sisters were most grateful for, that no one was hurt. And so they had to start all over again, and that's what was the first reason for the move to 49th and Cottage Grove. Fortunately, the sisters always had people who cared about them, who wanted to support the institution, and contributed. The sisters began to nurse and care for and educate Protestants, Catholics, Jewish people. It did not matter. And I think they began to become endeared by the people.
One of the concerns is that as the American Catholic population gets more mature, more financially stable, we're talking largely Irish Americans, some German American, they are becoming, they want to send their daughters to college too. And we're not talking a large percentage of the population, but what's the concern is they're going to send them to one of these non-Catholic, secular, maybe Protestant institutions, and they'll lose their faith.